Hello everyone, I'm Steve Woronoff and welcome to the Ingles table. And today I'm going to be making for you a family favorite, my skillet chicken pot pie. Got all the ingredients from my local Ingles store, so let's get started. First, what you're going to need is a crock pot. Now this goes in kind of different phases. First, we want to roast the chicken. So that we get not only the chicken, but we get a lovely broth that we're going to use in the skillet pot pie just a little bit later. So first we want to do in our crock pot, we want to place 2 ramekins. And we're going to place some carrots and some celery. Now, we're going to make a little I've got about a 4-pound chicken here, so I'm going to make a marinade to go on top of the chicken. And to do that, I'm going to add about 4 tablespoons of olive oil, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, a little bit of dried thyme. Now you can use fresh thyme, but if you're going to use fresh thyme, double the amount, and it will be spelled out for you on the recipe on the website. Also I like to heat things up, so I put a little cayenne pepper in there, and then I finish it off with some paprika. So we're going to mix all that together. Now in prepping your chicken, when you take it out of the wrapper, you want to make sure that you wash it really well. Take out the neck, take out the gizzard, and you want to dry this off. Make sure it's pretty dry. Okay, so I have my marinade, and into the pot I'm going to add, needs a little bit of liquid to get things going, and so some people like to use water. That is absolutely fine. I like to use wine, white wine. In this case, it's a nice Chardonnay. Going to take my chicken breast side up. We're going to place it in the crock pot on top of those ramekins, and then we're going to take our marinade and we're going to pour all over the top. We're going to slather this around really nicely. Now we're going to take some onion, some nice quartered onions. We're going to stuff that into the cavity. Then we're going to take some lemons, some nice quartered lemons, and we're going to stuff those in there. So we have it all ready, all nice and slathered. So you cook this on high for 3.5 hours. And when we come back, I'll show you the finished version. Be back in just a minute. All right, folks, we're back, and my chicken has roasted for 3.5 hours in the slow cooker. Smells great in the kitchen, by the way. And I have let it completely cool. And so this is what it will look like when it's finished. So next, what you need to do, of course, is to take the chicken off the bone and chop it up. And I have already done that. Already have some ready here. There it is. Now, the other part, though, is when the bottom part cooled down, then I took the broth, well, first took the ramekins out, and then took the broth and strained it into a bowl, and discarded the vegetables. And you come up with this most beautiful broth right here. This is absolutely fantastic. So, getting on with the process of making the skillet pot pie. First, what we want to do is saute our potatoes. And by the way, the potatoes is about 4 russet potatoes that have been peeled and they have been diced. And of course, with each particular layer, you want to salt just a little bit and a little bit of pepper. And once those are starting to look just a little bit tender, then you want to add your carrots and your leeks. Now at this particular point, if this starts to stick just a little bit, then you're going to want to deglaze it. Of course, that's not a bad idea anyway, because it gets all the what's called a fond on the bottom, all the nice extra flavors. And I happen to use a little bit of Chardonnay. Next, we want to add our mushrooms. And we'll add the rest of our salt. A little bit more pepper. And we're going to add a little bit of fresh chopped garlic. This is about 4 cloves. Now we're going to let this cook down just a little bit before we add our chicken, because the chicken's already been cooked. So what we need to do is start our roux that's going to go into this. A few tablespoons of butter melting there. Next, we're going to add some flour, and you want to whisk that around. You don't want it to burn. Now, we're going to add that nice, luscious broth back. Now we're going to add our chicken. Okay, so as this comes to a boil, it's going to thicken up because of the flour. And at this point, you want to add about 1/4 cup of heavy cream. And you want to whisk that around, and it's going to come to a really nice consistency. So now what we want to do is add it, and you can see it's a nice creamy consistency. Absolutely perfect. And now we just want to mix this in. Okay, so I'm smoothing out the top here because we're going to get it ready for the kind of the next phase. So we're going to let it cool down just a little bit, and we'll be right back. So now we're back, and you can see that I've got actually the finished, or almost finished, skillet leeks and mushroom pot pie. It's been cooling down for just a little bit, so now we want to add our topping to it. And I like to make things just a little bit fancy, so I'm going to show you a little trick here for braiding, much like some of you might do for your pies, your cherry pies or your apple pies when you want to braid them. But I do it with puff pastry. So I've taken a sheet of puff pastry, and it is thawed. And what I'm going to do is take my little rolling pin, and I'm going to roll it out just a little bit in length, because I need to get about 12 strips from it. So it doesn't take a whole lot. If you've thawed it out and it's not quite at room temperature, it's still a little bit cool, it's real easy to work with. Okay, now what we want to do is divide this up into 12 strips. Okay, so you're going to have 6 on one side and 6 on the other. So you want to kind of eyeball the middle and go right down, and then go 1, 2. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to take the first 6 and lay across like so. So you got your 6 going this way. Now, here comes the tricky part. You want to take the second one and bring it back. The third one and bring it back. And the 5th one, so the odd ones. Now you want to take another strip, lay it in. Now you're going to take your layers and come back. Now you're going to take your even ones. You're going to bring them back. And you're going to make another layer. And you're going to return those. And you're going to repeat. There. Now you have a little bit of a weave there. And so what you want to do to your edges here is just take them tuck them down around the edge here. Makes a nice little border. Just kind of fold them under and tuck them down. And when we get finished with this, we're going to take it and put it in the oven at 400 degrees. See how nicely that turns out? At about 400 degrees for somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 24 minutes till this is nice and golden and a little bit puffy. Okay? So I'm going to put this in the oven, and when it's through, I will bring it back and show you the finished product. Be right back. So folks, here it is out of the oven and nice and cooled down. Really nice presentation. Family will love this. Of course, you would serve it hot, but we've let it cool down just a little bit. But anyway, thanks so much for joining me here at the Ingles table. Be sure to check out the website for more tips, tricks, and recipes. I'll see you next time. Thank you much.